Hey everybody, it's your girl Angie. Welcome back to Kiss My Cheeks TV. Let's get into Real Housewives of Atlanta. Exhale. This whole episode was a gigantic eye roll to me. I was like, the whole 60 minutes, like half of it was on fast forward. Let's make this quick. Let's jump into it. Let's read a few bitches and be done. So up first, everyone is eating this food in Blaze restaurant. Candy, that food looked good. Now I wish you would have showed me more steak because I'm not a crab claw breaker. I'm one of the few people who probably hate lobster. Like, I don't eat lobster at all. Fried, buttered up. I don't care what you do to the lobster. I'm not going to eat it. So you showed a lot of food that looked good. The plating was amazing. I'm not a big pasta girl. I definitely want to try some of that macaroni and cheese. And I just wish I could have saw a nice ribeye or a filet or something, because I definitely would try some steak. But the food looked good. I heard it's a little bit expensive, Candy, but I'm still going to support you whenever I get to ATL, because I still haven't even been to Old Lady Gang. I haven't been to ATL in a while. Folk, let's not get off subject. Moving on. Let's get into Marlo versus Portia and Shamia. This was the stupidest argument. I didn't understand the concept behind the read. Portia gave the good setup. Shamia thought she knocked it out the park, but if any of them would have rubbed both of their brain cells together, they would have known to just let this go. Marlo, they show a flashback of Marlo apologizing to all the ladies on the trip for her, whatever it was, in front of Big Frida, her storm out, her cuss out, whatever Marlo was doing. And I said Marlo was wrong for that last week, so Marlo was wrong for that. The ladies deserved an apology. They showed that she texted Portia. Portia didn't respond, so she apologized to Portia face to face. Here, Portia is paying Marlo dust. I feel like Marlo and Portia were never friends to begin with. Marlo was Nene's friend. Portia was Nene's friend. So they were friendship adjacent. I've never really seen Marlo and Portia have no real deep relationship. So the falling out probably means nothing to Portia. But Portia, this episode, you look petty. Because if a person offers you an apology, it takes nothing for you to accept it. Just because you accept a person's apology doesn't mean you have to kiki with them and be all BFF. Just accept the apology and have your eyes wide open moving forward. Just be like, I know how Marlo rolls. I'm just going to pay her cordial. And that's it. But you kind of look petty this episode, Portia. So whatever reason, Portia, I know Portia and Shamia thought, well, we about to read this bitch. We're about to checkmate her with this liposuction. So Portia brings up her back. She's like, yeah, my back feel good. I'm in a brace right now. Marlo says, I want to have lipo in 2 weeks. So I got to hurry up and let my back heal so I can get this lipo. Marlo offered this information to Portia and Shamia. Brain cells not working. And I like Portia and Shamia, but the brain cells wasn't working. From there, I would have let the read go. Because the whole point of the read is you felt Marlo was trying to slut shame you with the bolo, whatever. And I don't want to go back there at all. So you about to try to, skinny shame, surgery shame Marlo into this liposuction. One, it was a bad call from the setup. Every lady on this show, I 100% believe, has had some kind of touch by a surgical doctor. I believe people call it touch by an angel. I like that. I wish I had the coins to be touched by an angel. I definitely would get a lift. I would probably get a little reduction in a lift because they're just too big. And I would definitely get me some liposuction. I know they'd be like, bitch, you got to hit the gym first. But trust me, I would do it too. I ain't got 10, 20,000 sitting around to get it done. But moving on. It was a bad setup from the beginning. But once Marlo admitted to be like, yeah, I'm going to get it done in 2 weeks, I would have let it go. Because even if Marlo lied, I don't feel like liposuction is anything Marlo would lie about. If she had it 2 weeks ago or 2 weeks in the future, I don't feel like Marlo would lie about it. It just made Portia and Shamia look dumb. Oh, we heard you had lipo right before the trip. The little bit I know about plastic surgery, because I haven't had none, so I don't know a lot. Any kind of surgery, if you get a surgery done right before the trip, you're not going on no trip, because you're going to have those drainage bags. You're going to be sore. You're going to be bloated. And it ain't worth it. And Marlo was just a friend of. And y'all bitches were only going to New Orleans. Marlo could have took that trip anytime. So it was a dry read, Portia and Shamia. Shamia, I would have let that go. Anyway, Portia I guess she said on Dish Nation, was like Marlo was cussing everybody out because she mixed her pills from having liposuction with alcohol. Portia, you gonna learn one day about accusing people of doing drugs or putting drugs in your drink. The little bit of coins you got, you gonna lose, because that's slander. If you don't know for a fact that Marlo mixed prescription drugs with alcohol, you're slandering her name. And all she has to do, I feel like Marlo is a better friend than most, because all she has to do is call her attorney, and them Dish Nation coins gonna be hers. Just watch what you say. Just, if you don't fuck with Marlo, don't say nothing about it. Pay her dust, because everybody else is paying you dust, Portia. Moving on. So also at this dinner, Kenya feels the need to pull Candy aside to let Candy know, Mark came in town early, and I don't know if he's going to get a hotel or if he wants to stay at my house. I just don't know what he wants to do. I'm flustered. I'm like, bitch, you ain't flustered. If the man wanted to stay at your house, he would have been at your house. He would have called you and say, come over with the key. Obviously, this man has a hotel. He's paid you dust up until Brooklyn's birthday. It seemed like y'all only get together for birthdays and Christmas. So Candy asked the question that everyone wants to know. Kenya, why are y'all in court fighting over custody? Why don't you just file for divorce? Because as soon as you file for divorce, you're going to get the custody situated anyway. And she's like, oh, I just feel like we haven't exhausted every avenue. I'm like, bitch, y'all never started any avenue. You all have never lived together. It seemed like y'all only came together to conceive Brooklyn and to get your ass back on this show. I don't feel like y'all ever started the avenue of marriage. So what do you mean you haven't exhausted it? Like, I'm with Kim Zolciak and I can't stand that bitch. But where's the marriage certificate? I feel like y'all can't get divorced because y'all have never been married. And I feel like you're wasting the viewers' time because you're trying to see how you can spin your way out of it. And you can't. You either going to show us a divorce or you're going to have to leave the show so we could quit talking about it. And you like to be on TV too much to leave the show. I don't know what you're going to do. I don't know how you're going to fake your way out of this one. It's going to be funny when your number is called. But let's move on from Kenya, because she was one of the scenes that got a fast forward. I said, oh, she over here crying about Mark. Click, click, click. Moving on. The pop-up event for the Black-owned businesses, I thought was a cute idea. Everybody had their mask on. Everybody was shopping. Portia was still shading Marlo because Marlo came up and was like, oh, I want to support you. I want to buy some of your sheets. And you know Marlo ain't sleeping on them cheap ass sheets, Portia. She just wants to throw you $30 and be supportive of your event, at the event. Marlo looked like she ain't about to sleep on them sheets. She about to get them to one of her cousins, one of her kids in college, And she paid full price because Portia won. A bitch trying to give you money for your business, the least you can do is give them eye contact and say thank you. You're like, you ain't got to give, here go your little discount, get a little. And Marlo is like, I don't want a discount. I want to support you. And in the Black community, that's big because everybody with a business, I have a little side hustle as well. Everybody, I ain't gonna say everybody. Some people do pay whatever I ask them, but most people want the hookup. Girl, let me come to you because you're going to be cheaper than H&R Block. I do taxes. Y'all know I'm an accountant. All that. And sometimes it pisses me off. Some people relatives will, soon as January 1st hit, I feel like I work for the IRS. Everybody calling up my phone. Angie, what to do this? What about this tax thing? You think I can get a deduction for this? And don't pay me a damn cent. I went to college for this knowledge. I take the time to learn the tax laws year after year, the changes. I didn't take my time to learn this to be the free IRS toll line. I do this for money. Moving on. I'm about to get pissed off about something totally different. All I have to say is, Portia, if someone wants to support your business, at least you can do is say thank you with a smile. The meat and potatoes of this whole eye roll of the episode is Drew wants to announce to everyone who's willing to listen that Toya is having an affair with someone named Prophet Lot. She said Toya broke up the man's engagement. He'd been engaged and just had a newborn baby, and now they're not engaged no more. It's a scandal amongst the church. Toya is a Delilah spirit, and you know Delilah, I guess, is someone who leads with sex appeal, but who on this show doesn't besides Drew? Because stop it. And now, because of the scandal of the church, her baby can't be blessed. I'm like, I'm with Candy. So now Toya blocking your baby's blessing. This was such a reach for me. It gave me, let me reach to hold on to my peach, because Drew has not given us anything all season. All she has is, she has some good clapbacks. Her fashion is trash. Be honest. She hasn't given us anything. Like, let's keep it moving. Let's get into it. So at the event, you know, she's telling Candy this. So of course Candy, when she sees Toya, is like, because Toya came a little late. She always late. But anyway, when she sees Toya, she's like, I heard you fucking around with the prophet. She didn't say that. But she said, I heard you dating the prophet, girl. What's up? That's your new man? And so now Toya is like, where'd you hear that? Who said that? And so now we all at Cynthia's wine cellar. Everyone get them a glass of red wine. They chilling. It's time to have a group event, a group scene. And so, of course, what was the first thing they brought up? They brought up something. It ain't matter. They bring up Toya and the prophet. And Drew calls out Toya, calls her the Delilah. What's the child name? Delilah. At the end of the day, they going back and forth. Toya is telling Drew, you need to shut the fuck up because you don't know what you're talking about. And Drew is like, yeah, that's why, she also told Candy, that's why Toya ain't come to your event, because she knew I knew. I don't feel like Toya is scared of Drew at all. At all. Even though Drew, when it comes to the clapbacks, she gets Toya together. It just gave me Drew is doing the most. Like, I feel like she wants to shame Toya. And I'm with Candy. Like, she said Toya was praying, P-R-E-Y. Not A-Y, but P-R-E-Y. Praying on the pastor. And I'm with Candy. Like, if this pastor, prophet, I don't know if they're the same. If this prophet is a man of God, doing the work of God, and he slips and has sex with Toya, why isn't he more accountable? Why is Toya got to be slithering in? If he a man of God, he could say no. He could like, take your whole ass over there. I'm here to P-A-A-Y with you. I'm just here to pray with you, to help you. I'm like, Drew said Toya is the reason why the church is messed up. I said, no, you the reason why the church is messed up. One, you put too much on man. I don't like people who call themselves prophets anyway. Like, I love God. I believe in Jesus. I want to go to heaven and all of that. But this man-made stuff, I'm not here for it. Tiny story. Like, this had to be about 7 years ago. Someone came to our church, prophesied over our life. The first thing he said was we was going to sell our house. Okay, we had our house on the market for about a year at this time, but he was like, you getting ready to sell that house. And so, thank you, Jesus. We're about to sell this house so we can move. And then he gave a prophet of my stepdaughter is deaf. So he was like, your stepdaughter is one day going to be able to hear. And it's going to happen this year. And I believe if God could do it for you, he can do it again. If he did it in the Bible, he can do it now. So I believe in all of that. But what messed me up is he was like, it's going to happen this year. And let me tell you what God said, how it's going to happen. He said she going to be sitting in the back seat with your husband and they going to be listening to music. And she just going to tap him on the shoulder and say, Daddy, turn that music up. I want to jam. And everybody in church starts shouting, we hallelujah. And our baby going to be able to hear one day. And so, this had to be earlier in the year. So I just didn't we had the anxious feeling of when is it going to happen? And it turned into every time my husband got in a car, it was like, this could be the time she's getting ready to hear. And then it turned into New Year's Eve and she still wasn't hearing. And so then, a lot of people, church people was like, well, God could tell you something, but he might have just had the date wrong. It might be this year she hear. And so then just the discouragement and the disappointment of watching your husband every time they get in the car and this prophecy doesn't come to pass that you really believe in. And like I said, this is 6-7 years ago, still deaf. I had to really encourage him, like, sometimes you may just be born to be something and you have to just be there. But I just didn't like how, you get this feeling of hope in the church and it could still come to pass. But my faith in it is like, we just gonna learn sign language and love and live on. It's not the end of the world. It's so many people dealing with much worse. I just didn't like the hope you put in somebody's life with that detail of a message. And it's like, I feel like if God is going to do something the same way he tell it to you, he going to tell it to me. So when people come to me, we're like, oh, God put this on my heart and he going to do this for you. I'm like, thank you. But I'll receive it when God tell it to me. Because trust me, if God will tell it to you, he'll tell it to me. Side track. I'm sorry. But that whole prophet thing rubbed me the wrong way last night on the TV anyway. But moving on. And then let's get into this. Drew is talking about the scandal of what's going on with Toya and the prophet. We can't have him bless our baby no more. And I'm like, let me read Drew real quick. Number 1, if you want to be the moral police of the church and y'all holding up all sins, what about your prophet who is over here unmarried having newborn children? Because at the end of the day, I know we do it every day, all day, any day of the week. You find unmarried people having babies. But if you want to talk about holding somebody up to a standard, he's supposed to be preaching to me about fornication, but he over here doing it with the proof. I don't care if it's a ring on the woman's finger or not. They were not married. And looks to be they not even together. So miss me with the bullshit of the morality police. Number 2, your mama, every Sunday we've seen her on this show, is holding church in your living room. You telling me your mama couldn't have blessed that baby any given Sunday? She couldn't lay hands and give a blessing to your baby. And number 3, this is not a baby. This is a fucking toddler. That little girl all of 2 or 3 years old. So I would have cussed Drew the fuck out. And last and not least, since we on Drew, while Drew, she seemed so concerned about what was going on between Toya and the prophet, she was not this concerned about finding out what the fuck her husband was doing in Tampa. Like, bitch, until you find out what's going on in your house, what your husband is doing, who he is preying on, worry the fuck about yourself. I'm kind of over Drew. I feel like after this stunt, she ain't got to come back. Because one, I don't believe none of what she's talking about right here. Two, the way she deal with Tampa, that seemed like a fake storyline too. I feel like Drew is just giving us stuff and a little bit of sass to be on the show. I don't feel like she's being herself. Don't nobody give a damn. I hate every time she say old daddy and new daddy. No, bitch. That's your son's dad. And you the bitch, while you talking about morality police, you the one who was fucking over there having a baby out of wedlock with a motherfucker who ended up in jail. So look at your own life while you judging what LaToya doing. And you so shameful of this, you don't even want your son to meet the man that you procreated with. That was your decision. That was your decision not to use birth control that night, to get it on, fuck, fornicate, all that, and have this baby. Yes, he might have went to jail, but now he's out and he has every right. I don't give a fuck how much you don't like it. He has every right to get to know this child. He is that child's father. And you need to tell him that it ain't no such thing as old daddy and new daddy. Ain't nothing old about that. That's that child's father. And Ralph just happens to be the man that is out of jail that's raising him. And from the sounds of y'all couple counseling, it doesn't sound like he treated him the same, because you said you feel like Ralph don't pay it out with no attention like he do the other two. So clean up your own house, Drew. But let's move on. We're at Kenya's house. It's Kenya, Candy, Cynthia, and Marlo. This is Marlo's first visit to Kenya's house. I like Kenya's house. It has a very LA feel. The pool isn't quite landscaped, but it looks nice. I like the new deck she put on there. It's Kenya's. Kenya tell everybody she got a breast reduction. Great. You really can't tell because she got on a sweater dress. It's probably because she all bandaged up. Whatever floats your boat, Kenya, I don't care. They talk about motorboating. Cynthia act like she don't know what motorboating is, just to give Toya an opportunity to put her head in between Cynthia's breast. Let's move on. So now they want to ask Kenya, was Marcus here? Did you blow on anything besides the candles? And I'm like, fast forward. We know Kenya and Mark are not fucking. That's why Kenya is so uptight and hell-bent and worried about Portia's coochie. We wish somebody would fuck Kenya. But let's move on. Now we get to talk about the prophet some more. And this is the scene where I say this is extremely messy. And I'm starting... The truth is somewhere in between Drew and Toya. To me... I don't know a pastor that wants to get on Real Housewives of Atlanta, and it gives me Giselle's boyfriend in the phone. What was his name? Giselle's boyfriend in the phone. It gives me him. Like, I don't know too many pastors who want to be involved in the mess of Real Housewives of Atlanta, but this pastor did. He gets on the phone. He talks to Toya, gets on the FaceTime, puts his face on the camera, and lets everyone know that everything Drew said was untrue. I guess one of the things he said is he was engaged, but that was 3 years ago. Drew did reach out to him to do his baby blessing or toddler blessing, but never reached back out to him. It had nothing to do with the scandal of the church. He is in the scandal of the church, but it has nothing to do with Toya. What does it have to do with? He says something about the story the pastor said was confusing to me, because he was like, oh, Drew's driver was jealous that I was getting too close to Toya, so they started up some rumors. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Why is Drew's driver that invested in what you and Toya do? Really, why is Drew that invested in it? But, and if you all introduced Toya to this man to help her with her drinking or whatever with her life, why would you then get upset that the man is helping Toya get her life together? It's the whole snowball of events didn't make sense. Nobody really wanted to talk to the man. No one really wanted to be involved. It just was messy. I can believe a little bit of what Drew was saying, and I could believe a little bit of what Toya is saying. Somewhere in between all of their mess is the truth, and I really just don't care. I really just don't. What I'm most happy about is that next week is the last episode. Next week is the last episode. And that's it. What else happened? That's it. That's the end of my notes. So we're going to stop right there. Get in the comments. Let me know what you thought about this week's episode. Like, comment, share. I want to know why Drew brings a wig to this Christmas party and Toya throws it at her. Like, thank God next week is the last episode and y'all could reunion me. Talk to y'all later. Bye.